This is KBCC 89.5 FM, Tracy, California, Peace and Justice Network of San Joaquin. For more information on the Voice of San Joaquin, go to tvosj.org.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, RawNé, and you are tuning in to Rise and Shine 209, the Voice of San Joaquin and Stockton's morning show.
Inside my car, oh, to hit me hard, right in the jaw. I feel strange, with nothing new. I'm getting older, that's the truth. Thought I could hide, muffled in sound. Clouds of smoke, getting foggy now. It's creeping in, it brings a mood, an atmosphere, I don't want it to. It shuts me down, it takes my voice, and I think, oh no, I have no choice. What am I doing here anyway? Kia parked alone by the interstate. Biggest fool around, biggest fool around, biggest fool around. There's so much doubt in you. Friends have come and go. This place will do, I suppose. I start to drift, the fog it deepens. My mind's awake, my eyes are sleeping. Why do we always work in the morning? Winter snow falls, my brain comes in storming. Why do we end dreams with more sleep? Open my eyes just for one peek. Biggest fool around, biggest fool around, biggest fool around. There's so much doubt in you. Biggest fool around, biggest fool around, biggest fool around. There's so much doubt in you. Biggest fool around, biggest fool around. Oh, and there is no one quite like you.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, RawNé, and you are tuning in to Rise and Shine 209, the Voice of San Joaquin and Stockton's morning show. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. What's up? We have Cliff DeBaugh in the house. He is the founder of Ready for Rescue. And if you don't know what that is, we're about to tell you what that is. So thanks for tuning in with us. Hi, Cliff. Thanks for coming.
Hi. Well, thanks for having me here. I appreciate this.
Yeah, for sure. I was happy to have you when we decided finally to get you in. We were going to have you come on in and let us know what this Ready for Rescue is, because we've had a lot of conversations in the station about it.
Yes, we have.
And you've had a lot of great guests coming onto your show. I guess first and foremost, we can let them know what is Ready for Rescue.
Ready for Rescue is a way that you can save lives by decreasing your 911 response time in your home.
By decreasing your 911. How would you decrease your 911?
That's through address visibility, having your information ready, and being more prepared than just, hey, I need help.
Oh, so basically kind of having like a prep plan. So,
that's a good way to put it.
Like a prep plan, yes.
Excellent way to put it.
So if somebody, you might need these services, you want to have everything in a set place, maybe like in a certain drawer or a wall or...
You know, you're right about a set place, and that set place has been in place since they implemented 911 back in the 80s.
What's
or
that?
late 70s, and that's having all of your emergency information on the refrigerator.
Oh.
At or around or in your refrigerator.
Really?
That's part of the protocols.
Really?
That's why when you have a 911 call, the EMT that's not tending
Uh-huh.
to you goes to the refrigerator.
Wow.
That's what they're looking for.
Did not know that. So this is like a big purposeful use of the refrigerators, guys.
Well, it's figured out that 99% of us have a refrigerator.
Yeah.
And the original system was called F-I-L-E of life.
Okay.
And you kept it in the freezer or, on the refrigerator door is
Uh-huh.
the folding cards that has your your name, emergency contacts,
Uh-huh.
and what your medications are, basically. It's very basic.
Man, we should put that. I'm going to put that in the comments. So one thing that I do with my shows is I put important information in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the event that they are scrolling past or didn't hear it, or maybe something glitched out,
Right.
they would still have that information. So let's let them know this is
Okay.
a very important piece.
That's awesome.
So what would we call it? 911 prep?
Yes.
911 call?
We're trying to come up with terms right now where we don't mention 911, because when you do a Google search, you have all this information pop up about 9/11.
Oh, that's true.
And
that
so it
sucks.
makes searches for us not
Difficult.
the easiest. And so we're looking at maybe crisis in the home, emergency, in-home emergencies, home safety. We're actually classified in our business license as a home safety advocate.
Home safety advocate.
But people don't think in those realms. You have to get how people think and go, okay, how would you be looking up for us? But
Yeah.
we're so unique with what we do, you really can't get a decent answer.
So you got started with when 911 calls
We're
were
pre-call.
pre-called.
Before you make the call to 911, it's a proactive approach.
So you want to elaborate and explain to that? I'm going to put this comment in there, but they're still
Okay.
listening and watching.
Oh, okay, great. You want to know how we started?
Uh-huh.
Actually, it goes back, I'm going to tell my age here, but
that's okay.
it goes back like 25 years.
But that's when 911 kind of got implemented in our area, though, right?
No, that's how I got into a situation where I didn't have my information.
Oh, and that's where this
And
grew.
through all this whole process and how the universe works slow but sure, and you get focus in life and you figure out your life's purpose,
Uh-huh.
then this all came to being. I was in a whiplash accident. I lost 40% of my cognitive abilities.
My goodness.
And when that accident happened, I was just dizzy. We didn't know that much about concussions at the time, like we do now.
Right.
There's a lot more awareness to it. And they just sat me down on the curb and said, "You'll be okay."
Just hang tight. You'll be good.
And, my head's spinning, and I'm just going, "Okay."
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And at the time, I was working for a coffee service here in town, and I had to drive back to Modesto with my head spinning. It was quite a trip in more ways than one.
Well,
But from there, I graduated to, life progressed and remarried and had a business within the building industry. And my distributor asked me if we could make lighted house numbers, do custom house numbers. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. And the big question was why? This is over in San Ramon. He was in a homeowners association. And he said, well, the city's looking for ways to cut 911 response time at night, the lighted house numbers. And so we met for that. And then on the way home from San Ramon, it was foggy over here because it was the wintertime, one of those rare days. And I'm going like, this isn't making sense to me, because if everyone has lighted house numbers, there's not anything that really sets you apart.
that's true. Yep, because it'll all be the same.
Or the bulbs burn out, or the plastic gets old, or the numbers fall off, they're attached. So it was like, this isn't making sense to me. And then as I approached 120 at 99, there was a CHP unit sitting there with a fog.
Oh.
And I saw this bright blue flashing light, and I went, that's it. And then it was like, well, okay, how does it work? And it was, well, we had answering machines back then. I'm dating myself. But it was like, well, if we can set off an answering machine, why can't we set off an emergency light?
You guys set off answering machines?
No.
Oh.
at the time,
But
we
when
didn't
we
have
called.
voicemail and all. We didn't have cell phones that were prevalent. And
Right.
so it was a case of when you call in, we had answering machines. That may be before your time. I don't know how old you are. But, you left a message because the machine knew you weren't home.
Right. So it'd pick up after the fourth ring or something.
Right. And I reversed that. So if your phone can recognize an answering machine, then why can't it turn on a light outside?
I see.
So that was all created. I invented that, and that's our biggest.
I haven't seen that, but other than the blue lights that they see on campuses.
Right. That's called Code Blue, by the way.
Yes, code blues.
And
When you're in
if you
danger.
go on our website, we have a 1-minute video of showing you how the light works. And that's done with our prototype that we have.
Is that on YouTube?
It's on readyforrescue.com.
And okay, so readyforrescue.com. But let's put for the information they need to have ready on their refrigerators, their name, their medications.
Main thing is their allergies first.
And their allergies.
And then their medications.
Your name, allergies, medications.
And primary doctor. I'm trying to remember what else is on the form. But that would get you a long ways. And the interesting thing is that we got Ready for Rescue as an awareness company, at least, to get people in the mindset that there are protocols. This is the reason that maybe grandma gets peeved because she thinks the refrigerator's being checked for food when they're actually looking for her emergency information during a call.
Readyforrescue.com.
Yes, number 4.
Ready for Rescue, yes.
Yes.
So I put that in there. You guys have that website available to you, so you can take a look at that.
Right.
And so now that we have the flashing blue lights, now the people who have these flashing blue lights, they have to have that installed, that service installed.
Well, we need funding to get that flashing blue light made.
Okay.
And it will be so that you can work it off an app or
Shark
a
Tank
web app.
here, Cliff comes.
Working off a web app, or you can manually do it. So if you have a landline, there's a little device that just looks for 911 when you dial it.
Oh.
Same on the cell phone.
This is very important.
Yes. And so we have that, and so we've developed this whole system around it. My patent attorney called it a system, and I went,
It really is a system, a calling system.
Well, at the time, I didn't have a system. So then it was, all right, I got to think the process through, and I've been in the home services industry, and actually when you think about a 911 call, it's a home service call.
It really is.
And your plumber, electrician, HVAC guy, you're going to write a check, where with 911, you don't want to check out. So we're making those protocols available, making people aware, and the first thing the way to make people aware is that when you're on the phone with 911, your house numbers are your first life-saving device.
Okay.
Because if they can't find your address, that delays your call.
Yeah.
And a 30-second delay on the call,
Yeah.
it could mean on a heart attack, you're on a ventilator for the rest of your life or not.
Oh my goodness.
30 seconds.
And that makes all the difference. It
Absolutely.
makes all the difference. So you're talking about our home services, and we had mentioned at some point in time where insurances come in, and some of them are able to assist in these payments because now the costs are coming up. The costs are more expensive, and some people have these services and some people don't. So assuming that everybody kind of had those and everything's in place, and say the patent comes through and now everybody is getting the blue light system in place.
Yeah, we have the patent on the light already.
Right,
Let you know that.
for the life-saving services.
Right.
Now that would be only for a 911 call.
Yes.
And that 911 call dispatches ambulance services.
Yes, when you call in, they figure out what you need. And the important thing when you call in is to try and be calm.
That's hard, I'm sure.
It is. I had a lady, she's a manager in a doctor's office, 4 doctors, 10 employees, and her
Nice.
son was injured at home. And she said, I was a basket case.
I bet.
I just wanted him to get here. It's just, and you can't do that. You have to be as calm as possible so they can understand you.
Yes.
And you can answer their multitude of questions. It isn't that they're trying to be nosy, it's that they need this in order to dispatch help correctly.
And how difficult it must be when it's a different language and there's language barriers.
That really enters in.
Yes.
Especially multi-generational homes.
Because when you talk about not only is somebody frantic and you want them to calm down so that you can actually understand them, try understanding somebody who's not only like so frantic that they can't even speak in the English because they have to think about it. They have to think in English in order, but naturally they're going to speak their own language first. So in a frantic and a panic, they're going to speak their language and then try to think about converting into English, which in their mind is...
Yeah, because you think in your own language first and then do the conversion.
Right, so that must be really tough.
What happens in those families is if there's a child at home that speaks English, they'll end up on the phone.
Right.
Or they will end up on scene to translate while grandma or grandpa is having a heart attack, which it's an astounding responsibility for a child.
Yeah.
But that's what they have to do to get treated.
And that's probably all that those families might have at that moment if they had. So in the event that there isn't an English-speaking person in the home, what do the ambulance services just go out?
It's a great question. It depends on who answers and their abilities. There are translation programs on cell phones, and that I don't know how many have access or use that.
Do the dispatchers use it?
Pardon?
Do the dispatchers have a translation program or something that they could use?
If there is someone within the dispatch that speaks that language, they'll try and transfer them over. As far as I understand.
But there's like not a translation line.
Simplified Chinese is not really Chinese, and it doesn't come out right. And which I would imagine that would carry through to other languages as well, and how they're nuanced.
Well, and the only reason I ask that is because in some hospitals where you have medical services that need to be translated as such, not interpreted by a family member, but given as the medical information is given. So they have these things like blue phones, red phones. They have translation lines where they can call the service, where it's basically a service that has all these people that are available to speak these different languages that are medically educated.
You're getting out of my area.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be great.
That's the hospital side, not my side.
Yeah. Well, that would be great to see the ambulance services be able to incorporate something like that to provide more of a wider range for people. But for the most part, so now we're getting into just, back to the basic, being able to call 911, being able to be heard.
You have your information. And that's really the important side, to have it written, have it correct, keep it updated. That's the toughest part, because your medication can change from one week to the next.
That's so true.
Or you may be on a medication for a week, but not the next week.
Yeah.
You may take something because of a
and then
treatment the day after the treatment, but you don't have it for a month.
Right. Or they might cut the dosage and...
And it really is difficult. But if you can put those medications down anyway and put a date beside them and the dosage, and if that's a continuous or temporary medication, then that's some indication to them. With your primary physician on the form, that's a call that they can make. They can connect to the hospital and do it, get that way through the hospital, because there's a hospital doctor, there's rehab doctors, then
and
it all
if you have
comes
different
back
ailments,
to your
you got
primary.
a whole bunch of different doctors.
Oh yeah.
Specialists.
It makes it difficult.
It really does. Yeah.
And you have confusion on the older patients too.
Yes.
I have a friend that's going through that right now.
Oh.
And you just go, and you're trying to assist, but you really don't know how to assist.
Right.
And
you don't have all those pieces of information.
Well, you have somebody that comes in for a couple hours a day that's qualified.
Right.
But their medications are due after they're gone, sometime during the day.
So who helps and gives them that, right?
Exactly. Right. Well, you got to rely, depending on their abilities. If they can take it themselves and understand it, that's one thing. If they're confused about it, then that's a whole different picture.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Who's going to assist? Who's going to check on them?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of dynamics that come into play within the family. And if, you were talking about the hospital, and one of the things about the hospital is you have to be an advocate for that person that you care about.
Yes.
You got to keep track of why are they giving them medications. You know, they may go in and they're taking 2 medications, and then when they're in a hospital, all of a sudden they're taking 5 or 6.
Right.
So you have to ask questions.
Yes.
And you have to pop in at different times of the day. Because then you're getting a different picture of the people on shift, what's going on in that person's regime there in the hospital, and also what their abilities are, if you can pop in while they're doing physical therapy and see, because they'll discharge you when you are medically fit to leave, and that does not mean you are physically able.
Right.
We've had many discussions about that within, you know, the people I've had to go see. And it's like, how can you do this when they can't get out of bed or they can't get 10 feet to the restroom?
Right.
But
And
it's
you
okay
said
to
it-
go home.
How very interesting. And especially if they know they're going to be going home alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. So what are some of the services that Ready for Rescue provides?
We have an array of services. It's almost like a cafeteria.
Okay.
So you can pick. It really doesn't matter to us where you start as long as you get started.
Okay.
And so we help with the preparation of the information, which is vitally important. And we can coming up, we'll be able to put that on a data card that you can carry with you, have it next to your license. So if you're out in a car accident, it's readily available when they check your ID. And that can also assist them in the field. And about 98% of ambulances in California have computers.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that helps. Fire companies, it just depends on the district. You know, the ones here that I've talked to anyway do, and they have a paramedic on board.
Yeah.
And you look at the preparation side, you know, when we can do live home inspections. We have a web app on our website that they can do a very generalized home inspection.
And what would those do? What do
Well,
those help with?
it's a walkthrough, looking at your home, we start at the outside, how visible are your house numbers? And
see.
we're not talking from the curb. That's how
From the
those
street.
sizes are figured.
Right, from the street.
You've got to remember that your responding unit, that person is sitting up at 6 or 7 feet eye level, and they're coming down the street to find you, and your little 4-inch house number can't be seen from 100 feet away.
Right.
Yeah. And so we recommend at least a 6-inch reflective house number.
6 inches. Okay.
Yeah, quite a bit different. The protocol and the fire code is 4 inches. And
But-
that's not big enough.
Right, right.
If you live out in the rural areas,
Definitely not big enough.
you want 6-inch or larger.
Yes, absolutely. 12 inches actually would be really good.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be great.
I'm there. Yes.
It is really hard to find visible numbers out in the rural areas, especially when they're
Sure.
in line or, you know, it's
As long
not.
as you can read them. And the hardware stores don't offer very large numbers.
Yeah.
You know, Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace.
to put on the mailboxes
No.
or a
So-
post.
The best thing a person can do is go to a sign shop.
Oh, that's
Have them make up your house number as big as you want.
there you guys go. Go to a sign shop. That's nice.
Well, you got to think differently. That's what got us here. And I have affiliation with a couple of sign shops here in town where we make house numbers for people. We switched over a lady on French Camp Road to, I put 7 inches on her yard. She was on a corner, one of those slow corners on French Camp between 99 and I-5. And reflective and works quite well.
Nice.
Especially at night.
Yeah, reflective is really good, I have to say. So I wanted to get into, okay, so you provide a few of these services that such as being able to do a virtual home inspection.
Virtual home, as well as if that
On-site.
piques your interest, we can do an on-site. The virtual, in order to get the questions finited down, we had to lump all the bedrooms together as one. So you check all those.
Okay, yes.
We had to lump the bathrooms down as one.
Check the bedrooms, check the bathrooms,
Right.
check the kitchen. Okay.
And you may have a bedroom in the hallway that you couldn't get a gurney turned into because the door's too narrow. You know, most of the older homes have like a 30-inch door.
Yes.
The doorway is 30. You have the door on the hinge and you have the knob on the door, which decreases that down, and it could be 26.
Oh, wow.
And it eats up about 4 inches, 4 to 5 inches on average. And then you have to make sure that if they get in, can they get you out? Which that's the thought process. Just get the general idea. And if you have specifics, they can call us, send us an email on info@readyforrescue.
Okay.
Or support@readyforrescue.
Okay.
And learn about your home. Think about it in a different way. We have all these safety procedures in our work environment. Keep the aisles clear. When I've walked down the street and people have their front doors open and you can see a hallway, it's not unusual to see a little thin bookcase in the hallway.
This is very true.
That can prevent responders getting down the hallway. So then there's a delay. They have to move furniture.
Does that happen often?
Actually, it does.
Wow, that sucks.
I have a friend up in Placerville, and he left one day, and he came back, and all the furniture was in disarray. And he says, "Oh, we had a 911 call. Mom must have called."
Oh my goodness.
But
that's terrible.
They're
that
not going to put the furniture back.
Right, exactly not. But that would be terrible for them to have to sit there and use their energy to move furniture.
It costs time.
Rather than to be with the patient
Sure.
who needs the assistance.
It costs time.
Absolutely.
And
Man.
If you have a hoarder situation, they'll cut a hole in the wall to get you out or pop a window out.
Very interesting. I didn't know they had those kind of tools on board.
They call the fire department.
Oh,
they
that
have all
part.
kinds of tools.
That makes sense. Just get that axe.
Yeah, they have all kinds of tools. There's buzz saws.
So
go
while
through
they're
walls.
trying to get everybody out, there is something else that you guys do as well. You guys go out to different cities, different locations, different fairs.
We do. We pop up around the community in different spaces. The community events are fun because it really makes people think.
Yes. And they can ask so many questions.
Well, they do. And, one of the things, when you see the ambulance sitting off to the side, they're just waiting for the next call within a certain radius. This is based on algorithms.
Oh.
Everything
makes
about
sense.
computers, right?
Yes, that's why I see them sitting in parking lots then.
Yes. But if you have a question, you can ask the guys. They're not going to spend a lot of time with you, but they'll give you the down and dirty answer. And you can't always get the right answer on Google.
True.
Every district has its own policies. This is one of the foibles. We can do generalized information. We can't get into specifics because what works here in this fire district, this response area, may not work in an adjoining area.
Wow, and they could be in the same city.
This is true.
How very interesting. So you take those into accountability. You take those into account
Well,
when
we give them, like I said, we give them the general information.
I see.
I'm not trying to be, I can't get into the minutia.
Okay.
It's to give you the correct information so that you can further educate yourself. Call into, if you have any questions, you can call into the non-emergency numbers for the police department,
Do you
fire
have those
department.
on hand?
You got to look them up.
Oh, okay. Use non-emergency numbers.
Yes, use non-emergency numbers for any questions to fire and police. Or call into, here in the county is AMR. And they'll help you there too.
And you also mentioned there are other things that you also kind of advocate and push for. We had some discussion the other day.
Yeah.
And this is basically about the fact that our area doesn't have a children's hospital and some of the services that we don't have for them. And
Right.
so I kind of want to talk about that just a little bit. We have about 10 minutes to go. And I want to educate the parents in this area and those with children and what the situation is for us.
Let me go back to the information that you have on the refrigerator.
Yes.
That's for everybody in the household.
That's for everybody in the house,
That's not
including the
just
children.
Yes, that's not just for the one that's the eldest that sees the doctor more often. That's for everybody in the house because you never know who it could be that you're calling for. And you are correct. There is not a children's hospital in the valley here. If your child is in the hospital and needs a different level of care than what the hospital has, if it's life-threatening, they will be life-flighted out. And that flight can cost the family tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Impact their financial future, their relationship, everything.
Yeah.
And including nutrition, which could affect them to be sicker and repeat the cycle.
Oh,
because
Yes.
families cut back when they're financially strapped, and it usually hits into the food budget.
Yeah.
And if you do that, then it affects the child's learning ability in school.
This is so true. I was just talking to somebody recently about this. We got donations, and so I took some of them over to the teen center so that those youth that come by are able to have some snacks. They can take those. So shout out to Anthony Beats out in Sacramento for allowing us to do that for that reason, because it is so important to keep those sugar levels, whatever balance your body needs with nutrition, going, and it helps with your immune system and your capacity to function. So it's so very important.
When you're not eating, your immune system drops.
Well, and not only that, like your energy levels. So some people can't even think.
You
Some
get
people
fogged over.
Some people are like, they are not paying attention because their skills have just they're starting to shut down a little bit because their body is in need of substance. Yeah.
You're just tired from no energy. And that, the children part is really, really important. And
They're our future. We have to keep them going.
Well, but you know what? You got to keep mom and dad going
Of
in order
course,
to keep the younger one going, because if you do what's important for you, they automatically benefit. And the children, I was at Cal Air Saturday at the Turlock Public Safety event, and I have a good relationship with Don Getz at Reach Air here.
Okay.
And so we have conversations about all this.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And most of their flights, the medical flights, are inter-hospital, so from one level of hospital to another. With a child, there's not a lot of choices.
Right.
They either, here in the Valley, since we don't have a hospital, we have a brand new children's clinic in Modesto.
But that's not a hospital.
That's not a hospital. It was.
They probably don't keep kids overnight.
It's a clinic.
Right. It's a clinic.
And, it's for aftercare.
Oh.
After.
The closing hours of other offices, doctors' offices.
Well,
or
it's
whatnot.
aftercare from the hospital.
Oh,
Continuation of appointments for the parents.
I see.
And you have your child that gets flown out of here. They either from here they'll go up to UC Davis or over to Oakland or San Francisco, UCSF or Stanford.
Yeah.
Or up to
Chico? No,
No,
not
no,
Chico.
no.
Is that Davis?
There's Davis. I'm forgetting the other hospital. Sutter.
Oh, yes.
Sutter
in
Children's.
Sacramento.
Yeah, in Sacramento. And if you're a little further down the valley, you may go down to Madera to Valley Children's.
Okay, Madera.
And so you're away from your child. They have no support. And it creates further financial hardship on the parents.
I know somebody here who their child, they had found something and they ended up taking him up Sacramento area. They couldn't find anything, sent the child home.
Yeah.
Something happened again. They had to send him back up there. Found out that they couldn't figure it out. So the child ended up having to get flown down all the way to LA.
Wow.
And down in LA is where they ended up doing procedures. The child had to stay there, and the mom had to go back and forth in the event of, as a part-timer, not trying to lose her job.
Right.
How, oh my gosh.
You bring up an
intense.
important point here in the county is that most time off from work is to attend another family member, not your immediate
It's
family.
right. Yeah, that's
but
the
you're
right.
an interim caregiver
Yep.
for your parents,
Child, husband,
Yeah.
wife, spouse.
extended family.
Sister.
That's how we lose a lot of time here, like
Yes.
$3 billion monetary value on it.
Oh my goodness.
So there's a lot of aspects that come into play, and the financial costs are the worst. The World Health Organization did a survey, and it was 44% of people experience financial hardship.
Because
of that
they have
44%, 25% go bankrupt.
That's true. And or lose their job and everything. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad to know these statistics and this data.
Yeah, I don't like to be a statistical type
But
person,
it's so
but
true, though, because you see it in everyday inner workings, and you can kind of see how that happens, and the non-compassion, and it sucks to see that people are
you're
in
a number.
positions. Yes, as people in admin, they have to not have compassion because they have an operation to run. They
This is true.
have something to run, but they cannot deal with things of that nature where if they need the staff member there and the person's not always there, that's where it becomes another issue.
It's really a double-edged sword for them.
Yeah, it really is.
They have the job to do. They see so many people that if they don't turn off some of that humanity, it's mental health issues then for them.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest issues with responders is mental health issues. And there's a lot of changes that they're working on legislatively for them.
Really?
Yes. Ami Bera's got a bill right now in the House of Representatives they just introduced about better mental health care for responders.
That's pretty awesome.
And
I
there's
can only
something-
imagine some of the things that they've seen.
And there's some things going on in the Assembly too here in California. But by all means, they need it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, for-
Mental health is a big
Oh,
thing
yeah.
for so many people and so many jobs that require intense energy and for you to not be human first because you have
Right.
other things to do.
Well, we've intensified our work environment through electronics.
Oh, yes, that's
There's
true.
more coming at us than we've ever had. We see more information in a day than our parents see in a lifetime.
No way.
Yes.
No way. That's
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Well, think about it.
I
You
can
got
understand
the internet
that.
at your
I can-
fingertips.
I
You
can
got your cell
totally-
phone that's constantly in contact with you. And
Sending you notifications.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, you don't have to do that right away.
Right.
You don't have to answer those people right away. They can wait. It's not an emergency. I look at it this way. This is my personal view, okay? Is that if it's an emergency, I definitely know about it because I'm involved.
Yeah, true. What's the biggest thing you would want people to take away from this interview today, knowing about Ready for Rescue?
I would say preparation. Think about your home, your medical issues within your particular family and maybe extended family. Have that information ready. Get it put together on paper some way. The file of life is given out freely.
Okay.
And then
Where can they get those?
I knew you were going to ask. I got that from Senior Awareness Day.
Okay.
The fire department has them.
Okay, fire department has them.
In fact, the fire department, if you're unable, they will check your smoke alarms too.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
when they're not busy.
Of course, sorry.
They have a lot of they do a lot for the community, but the main thing is being prepared. Take a look at your house numbers.
Okay.
That would be the biggest change they could make to decrease their response time.
Okay.
And they can always give us a call or send
To
us
do
the
the
email.
assessment.
Just to ask about their house numbers.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. I definitely have that in there so that they can, and your suggestion of getting their house numbers made at a sign shop.
Yeah.
So that would be something that they could do. Ready for Rescue's up. So www.ready4rescue, readyforrescue.com. You guys can check that out. We have that in the comments for you. So in the event that you don't know how to spell that or how that's written, you guys can go ahead and click on the
And we
link.
also have Ready FOR Rescue as well.
That's another one?
Yeah. Almost forgot that.
www.
READYFOR RESCUE.com.
So we have both. Okay, Ready for Rescue. www.readyforrescue.
Yes.
All right, you guys. Well, Cliff, thanks for sharing all that information and letting people know, these are some of the things they definitely want to do for themselves, for all of their household, all the members in their household, all of their loved ones, that they
Right.
Want to be able to have a less response time for the
Yes.
ambulance.
And can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
If you don't have it, make a list of the keys.
Make a list of the keys.
The keys
Okay.
that you have, because if somebody's taken over for you when you're incapacitated and you've got to leave your house, the keys are important that you have a list for. That one will make everybody think.
I know.
Nobody has a list for their keys.
I was just now thinking. I was like, my goodness. The only time I've seen that is in the military.
Right. I got that idea from a teacher 'cause she left her keys at her vacation home.
Oh, I see. In the military, we have key boxes, so
Yeah.
keys for that, and so
Right.
you
Well,
know.
we have key rings with nothing on them.
Right, and all the keys look the same.
Absolutely.
So true, and the only person who knows it is the person using it. So we definitely want you guys to be prepared. Step up your game for your emergency preparedness. You guys can be the person who sets the tone on the block, get bigger numbers for your house, share how you've done that, and let everybody know that you guys are going to be keeping your information on your refrigerators filed. You guys can get those file cards with your local fire departments. And you guys can always call Cliff, Ready for Rescue.
Send us an email on info@readyforrescue.com.
To
That's the numeric 4.
info@readyforrescue.com.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, well,
And
I
want to thank you for having us today.
Man, I thank you guys. I thank you so much for coming in and sharing this because you're new and you also have your own radio show. So if anybody wants to follow along with Cliff and Ready for Rescue, here they have a show and it runs
Thursdays at noon.
So
Noon to 1.
He's going to be having a show in just a couple hours here. And who's your guest today?
Actually, we don't have a guest today.
Oh, you usually have a guest.
Yes, we do.
Nice.
Well, not everybody connects all the time.
That's true.
And
that's true.
what we do to fill in is keep the public informed on 911 news.
Nice. And that's great.
And that's what we'll be doing today.
So that's what you guys will catch today, the 911 news and what's going on. But you guys can always follow along Thursdays at noon, Ready for Rescue. He has a lot of great people that come in that he speaks with on many different issues that they're trying to smash out and really make sure that they can get these details hammered out so that it's better for safety, the public safety.
Yeah.
And
we had guests from
Thank you so
Stockton
much.
Pace, and we had Reach Air here, AMR here.
You guys can go back and review those too.
Oh, yes. We have I forgot
Links?
we have a YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
Ready for Rescue.
Yes. So Ready for Rescue on YouTube.
On YouTube, yes.
You guys can check that out and review some of those interviews and check out some of the information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
And everything's on the station's website as well at
Right.
TVSOJ.
TVOSJ, the voice of
OSJ.
San Joaquin and
There you go. You say it much better than I do.
Oh my goodness. Well, that we definitely have. I'm gonna go ahead and get that, and maybe a little
Okay.
music.
But I know you're on to a lot of different times.
Yeah, just Rise and Shine 209, RawNé Hour, and then I just come back and help run boards once in a while. So
Yeah. We'll
But
be
I'm
at
here.
the event for the station in August.
Okay.
What
And
day?
where else is Ready for Rescue? Where else can they find Ready for Rescue? You go to the
We're going to be
farmers
at the
markets.
Lodi's Farmers Market on Thursdays.
Okay. At what?
And we're in the Reach Air ambulance
Okay.
booth.
Okay. And
Right.
that's gonna be in Lodi.
That's in Lodi,
Where at in Lodi?
School Street,
School Street.
the main downtown street.
Okay. So you guys can check that farmers market on Thursdays in Lodi, School Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come by and see us.
Please do. All right, you guys. That's Rise and Shine with your girl RawNé and Cliff DeBaugh with Ready for Rescue. Thanks for tuning in, tapping in with Rise and Shine 209 on the voice of San Joaquin and Stockton. Talk to you guys tomorrow, and I hope to see you out in the community anytime.
You betcha.
This is KBCC 89.5 FM, Tracy, California, Peace and Justice Network of San Joaquin. For more information on the voice of San Joaquin, go to tvosj.com.